Welcome to Who Politics, where the game is more than just a game. I'm your host, Who Politics, and here we break it all down, from the fundamentals to the future stars. We talk players, prospects, and the stories that shape the culture. This isn't just analysis, it's perspective. So whether you're a hoop head, a student of the game, or just here for the stories, pull up a seat. Let's talk basketball. Once again, we're back with another episode of the Who Politics podcast, episode 5. I appreciate all y'all who have stuck it out with me up until this point, who have been listening, who have been sharing, commenting, all that great stuff. I really love that. I really appreciate that. Y'all have been awesome. If you haven't already, hit the link in the bio. Make sure you guys are following everything else as far as Who Politics is concerned. If you like the short form content, TikTok is where you need to be at. If you like more long form content like this, make sure you guys subscribe, hit the notification bell for YouTube and for what's that other one? Spotify. Yeah, Spotify. I got so many different apps going on right now. It's hard to keep up with everything. And if you're more of a reader, if you're somebody who likes to read and visualize things for yourself, go and hit the Substack, man. I got a nice little following going on over there. We got articles coming out every week, and it's been really fun to just find a new avenue to get my thoughts out. I never thought that I would be a writer to some extent. I don't even know if I want to call myself a writer, but regardless, I'm putting it out there. I'm shooting at it and seeing what happens. And so far, I got to admit that I'm actually enjoying it a little bit. So if you're into that, make sure y'all go and hit that, subscribe to the bump, and we're going to really get some cool stuff going over there on that side as well. And maybe we'll look into doing some variation of like a paid subscription as well to kind of give you guys some extra content over on that side. But anyways, now that we got all that out of the way, we're going to go ahead and get into the podcast. And I think that this right here might be a multiple part podcast that we do for this specific topic that we're going to be breaking down. And it all starts with TikTok. So a lot of my topics that I am putting together for the podcast are really based on, not all the time, but they're based on videos or that I make or videos that I'm tagged in on TikTok. And 10 minutes is not enough time to really break it all down. And I think that I need to go in depth a whole lot more on the subject. And that is pretty much what's turning into these 45-minute or maybe hour-long podcast episodes. And like I said before, I think that this right here is going to be a multiple part one, because if not, this could probably easily be a 3 or 4 hour episode, which I just don't think that I have the patience to even do right now, but I'm working towards it. Anyways, so I get a TikTok mention. People are mentioning me, tagging me in this video of a specific basketball player that many of you probably have recently heard of, and that is Eugene German. So if you haven't heard of Eugene German, he is a basketball player. He plays professionally in China right now from Gary, Indiana. And he played 4 years of Division I basketball at Northern Illinois University, the Huskies, in the MAC conference. There he did 3 years. Well, his sophomore, junior, senior year, he averaged 20 points a game. I want to say it was 20.6 points per game, then 20.4 points per game, and then 20.5 points per game. In his freshman year, he was still getting buckets. Then I think he might have averaged maybe somewhere around 12 or 17. Actually, you know what? I don't even have to guess it. You can just look it up. See, and I would have been super wrong. 9 points a game his freshman year, 20.6 points per game his sophomore, 20.4 junior, 20.5 senior. The boy is a bucket. He is nobody new to the basketball space as far as those who really just love watching basketball at all different levels. He's been a bucket for a very long time. He now has recently gotten some newer notoriety because he went to the Next Chapter, which is Devontae Friga's league that he does on YouTube, and completely dismantled a guy who a lot of people thought was at the top of the food chain in Uncle Scoob, who is a DMV native. So after seeing how he made quick work of this guy, from there, everybody started to go to social media to say, who is this guy? Who is this Eugene guy? There's levels in basketball. There's guys who really are the ones and da. Because of that, more notoriety. Not to say he wasn't already known, because he already had a pretty big following on social media, just narrating and talking about his own highlights and how he's always killing guys. But this is a new variation or a new level of notoriety that he's starting to get, which led to a lot of people asking the question that it seems like everybody gets asked if you become somewhat of a relevant person on social media in the basketball space. Why didn't you go pro? Why aren't you, or, specifically, why aren't you playing in the NBA? Because he does play in China currently, which led to him explaining all of the different things that went on as to the reason why he did not make it. Some of it was his own fault, as far as maybe just picking the wrong agent, which is something he said. Other parts are things that he cannot control at all, which is Hoop Politics, which is where I come in at. So I'm getting tagged in this video, and just to kind of give a synopsis, he talks about how he killed in college. He ended up picking a bad agent who really didn't do much of nothing for him. He thought that he would be able to get into the summer league after his senior year. He never expected to get drafted. And for whatever reason, this agent didn't do anything for him and couldn't get him into the summer league. He ends up firing him after sitting out for almost an entire year. Comes back the second year with a new agent, and immediately agent says, yeah, I got you a summer league spot. From there, he's trying to fight, get minutes. He cooks when he does get an opportunity, but nothing really too crazy. He gets sent overseas. He cooks at the overseas team that he's in. He goes to another team in the middle of the season, cooks over there. Everywhere he goes, he's a cookbook. Everywhere he goes, he's a cookbook. He then tries to come back, do another summer league, a training camp, and see if he can find a way to come into the NBA through the back door. For those who don't know, coming into the NBA through the back door is essentially going overseas and then coming back later on, like a guy like Patrick Beverley, for example, somebody who wasn't drafted, kills overseas for a while, and then eventually gets his opportunity with the Miami Heat, Houston Rockets, and so on and so forth. So he talks about going over and being with the Boston Celtics, and I want to say the Toronto Raptors it was, and he's killing. He's cooking. Nobody can guard him. He's passing the ball. He's knocking shots down. He's playing great defense, doing everything that he believes that he should be doing and that most people would believe that they should be doing in order to try to make a roster. For whatever reason, he doesn't get picked up. He gets put onto a summer league team. He's working out. He's training. He's doing all of these things. And basically they bring him in the first game. They say, yeah, you're not playing for no reason at all. Just you're not going to play this first game. He comes out in the second game. He might have got some minutes, scored a little bit. Third game, he comes out and now he's actually cooking, doing his thing. And then he doesn't play anymore. He's talking about how he's looking at guys who are trash, essentially, who are out there playing in this summer league team, who are trash, who aren't hitting any shots, turning the ball over, losing the ball off their feet, etc. And he just could not believe the fact that he was sitting on the bench watching guys who are trash just throw the ball away and just do all of these other kind of things that he couldn't fathom it. So eventually, to save his own mental health and to get what he believes he deserves, he decided to stop looking at going to the NBA and to just go overseas, get his bag, be treated like a celebrity, and ride off into the sunset, which I think is what most basketball players should do. And I am very happy that he got the opportunity to do that and still do that. Now, I apologize because I know I butchered up the story, but the net of it, the synopsis of it all is everywhere he goes, he cooks, and he doesn't get the opportunity to get into an NBA or get on an NBA roster and actually stick. Not even a two-way contract. Whew. So that leads into where I come in at and where this podcast episode is gearing towards. He was blindsided by the politics of basketball, which is what Hoop Politics is all about. Situations, opportunities, right place, and right time are all the things that add up to you making it to the higher levels of basketball. Nobody is exempt from it. You might not have politics working against you in high school. You could in college. You might not in college, but you do in the NBA. Every level you go to, there is some type of politics that you have to fight against or that is working in your favor. Many people believe, like Eugene believed, that if I kill, if I cook, if I get buckets and all these other things, then it'll take care of itself. That's the age old thing that a lot of people have talked about. Our parents have said it. Our parents' parents have said it. Put up the numbers and they'll come find you. And what you realize over time is that that is not the case. Numbers don't lie. Numbers do lie. Numbers will lie to you. There are a lot of things that play into why you get to the level you get to or why you do not get to the level you get to. I've said plenty of times, I have done way more than a lot of guys and have gotten less. And I've done way less than other guys and I've gotten more than them. It's just the way that the ball bounces sometimes, no pun intended. So I thought that, you know what, maybe I need to sit down and start to really break down the politics and the path that you as an individual basketball player need to look at and take if you are looking to ascend to the higher levels of this game. Before I begin that, let me say this. This is not an individual tailor-made situation for you. Everybody has their own road. Everybody has their own path, and one door that worked for one person is not the door that will necessarily work for you, and vice versa. A lot of these things that I'm going to start talking about explaining are not things that you can fully control. These are things that you can only be aware of and try to put yourself in the best opportunity to try to make it work for you. And at the end of the day, at the end of all of this, whatever God has for you is what he has for you. And a lot of people like to take that statement or take that quote and use it in the direction of, yeah, I'm going to make it regardless because God has that for me, regardless of all these other guys doing me dirty or telling me no or whatever. No, that statement is true in the positive and in the negative. Sometimes you can do all you can in your power and it's not going to work out. And that's God also letting you know, hey, look, this isn't what I had planned for you. And you have to be willing to accept that and move on the best that you can. Do not only let God be your God when things are going great. He is also God when you don't have anything, or at least when you think you don't have anything. Let's not pick and choose when we want to start believing in him. So that statement works on both sides. What God has for you, he has for you. And what he doesn't have for you, he doesn't have for you. Accept both. Also, a lot of the information that I'm going to be passing out for these next few podcast episodes, these are things that are current today. I'll give you an example. I could say to you, hey, the best JUCO for you to go to is Chipola. I am saying that today in 2025. If you come across this podcast episode in 4 or 5 years, that does not mean that that will be the case then. A new school might be it, like Hutchinson Community College or Casper College or New Mexico Military Academy or New Mexico Junior College. Northeast Oklahoma A&M, I'm getting into a bag of all different types of JUCOs I know. South Plains, North Idaho, whatever, Venisons. That is what's relevant now. You have to apply this knowledge, generally speaking, to whatever time period you come across this podcast. Okay, now that we got all that squared away, let's get into the pod. So you want to go to the league. There are a lot of factors that play into that, and that's not something that you can fully control. But I'm going to try to do my best to give you a little bit of information piece by piece that you can take and try to apply to your own situation. When I was coming up, well, before I was coming up, people used to talk about being in college and doing your thing in college, and maybe you get an opportunity to go to the league. We're talking about maybe 30, 40 years ago. Then a little bit before me and also during my time, it was about AAU. What AAU team are you playing for? What showcases are you going to? What high schools do you go to? Those things are not relevant now. Everything now begins at middle school. Middle school is where your basketball journey begins. You have to start making great decisions as a 13-year-old, as a 14-year-old. Parents who are listening, listen carefully. Do not wait until high school in order to start getting your kid acclimated to the politics of basketball. Kids are getting ranked in middle school now. They're getting ranked in middle school. Now, do not hold these rankings to a high regard. Do not take it with a grain of salt, because nobody, let me repeat, nobody is able to predict a bunch of 12, 13, and 14-year-olds consistently. It's easy to say this kid is going to be an NBA player at 14 years old when he walks in at 6'8". That doesn't take rocket science. The accountant for Wegmans can tell you that. These kids are being ranked based on the fact that some of them are just coming into their athleticism, coordination, or man body at an early age. A kid could be better than your kid simply because he had his growth spurt first. He's 5'10" right now, while your kid is still 5'5". But that might be the only growing he does for the rest of his life. When I was in the 8th grade, I was already 5'11". I grew more, but there were other kids who were my height and who were a little bit taller who never got taller. I came back 3-4 years later and I'm looking down on them. And I'm only 6'4", 6'3 and a half, 6'4". You don't know how your kid is going to grow. You don't know the athleticism they're going to have. You don't know any of those things. You can guess it, but you're not going to know. So do not hold these rankings to a high standard. They mean nothing. The main thing you need to focus on as a middle schooler, or your son or being a middle schooler, is putting them in proximity of people who are making decisions at an early age. There are 2 middle school combines that are known nationally that everybody is going to. Specifically, 8th graders getting ready to go into high school, rising 8th graders going into their 9th grade year. And that is the CP3 National Middle School Combine. That's Chris Paul's combine. And MSHTV. Some of you guys might know it because of the neon green jerseys, the neon pink jerseys. A lot of people say that there's no real basketball going on over there when they're playing. It's just a bunch of foolishness. Whether you have that sentiment or not is irrelevant, because the point of it is one of the biggest showcases for middle school. It provides exposure. Multiple NBA players have all come through there. Your LaMelo Balls. Right now, Tyron Stokes, who's like the number 1 player in the country, or a top 5 player in the country for the class of 2026, went there. Your LaMelo Balls, your Jason Tatums, Bam, Adebayos, those guys have been a part of these. You need to go there, or CP3. Might be a little bit more organized. I don't know. I haven't been to either one of them. But what these showcases do is they put a national spotlight on you and your child at an early age. And what that's going to do is that's going to bring AAU programs and high school programs to you early. You want to try to get in a position where you can play on varsity as quickly as possible as a high schooler. Now, what does that mean? That does not mean I made the team, but I sit the bench. That means nothing. You might as well play at whatever level you'll be able to get real minutes at. So if you can only play at JV, but you're going to start at your real position and get minutes to go out there and do you and learn and make mistakes and not be pulled out, that's where you need to be at. And then you could be on varsity as a sophomore. Some private schools go K through 12. And there'll be 8th graders who are on JV or 8th graders who are already on varsity. Good situation to be in if you're going to get real minutes. You want to try to be in those situations where you can get on varsity early and get real minutes early. If a coach comes to you and says, you can play with us right now and start on varsity, it doesn't matter what the level is, you should go. To be an 8th grader or a 9th grader playing varsity, it doesn't necessarily matter about the talent you're playing against because you're just going to be playing against bigger and older kids. And you want to take the opportunity to get confidence. Confidence at an early age is really important for basketball players, even if it's false confidence. To be in the 8th grade or to be in the 9th grade and to have a game where you get 30 against 18-year-olds and 19-year-olds, it does something to the psyche of a basketball player. They walk into gyms expecting to be good. And confidence is more than half of the battle when it comes to basketball. You want to, let me back up. It gives confidence to players. It gives confidence to players. Now, depending on where you live at, depending on the area you're in, many of these high schools that are picking up players based on this MSH TV or CP3 combines or whatever middle school combines you go to, they're connected to elite AAU programs, which is something else you want to attach yourself to. It is nearly impossible. I know that people are talking about these new leagues that are popping up right now, and that's great. More opportunity, but it is nearly impossible for you to go league and you are not connected to a shoe affiliate AAU program in today's day and age of basketball. Whether that is Nike, Adidas, or Under Armour. Yes, Hoop Group does have a league. Puma does have a league. I think Big Shots might have one too now. But generally speaking, you need to be playing for a shoe affiliate program. It doesn't matter which one. People will tell you, well, go play Nike because that's the elite of the elite. That's the best of the best. Maybe. The main thing you need to be focused on is getting in front of college coaches at an early age. If you kill, no matter what shoe affiliate team you're on, you will be invited to the elite camps where you will be able to start controlling your own destiny and controlling your own politics. The sooner you can control your own situation, the better off you will be. But you have to know when to go about that and how to go about that. You want to try to attach yourself to some AAU programs. A lot of times that can come through the high school, depending on where you are from, what area you're in. Here in the DMV, the WCAC is connected to all of the AAU programs. There aren't really any AAU programs that you can go to that isn't directly connected to a WCAC school. Whether that's Paul VI, St. John's, Gonzaga, DeMatha, whoever it is. You got to figure out what your situation is for your team or for your state. What also can come from these camps that we're talking about are the AAU programs where you might get direct to consumer. They are watching these highlights. They find out some kid looks like he's got potential and he's been cooking and he's from Ohio. That AAU coach might come in and say, yeah, we want you to come in for a tryout, put you on our 9th grade team. You got potential. If that opportunity comes, you should take it. Now, let me also touch on this. Your situation matters. Bringing you in and giving you minutes matters as quickly and as soon as possible. You need to know how to actually approach a situation and know what is a good situation for you. This is so much. This is just so much notes. You need to be playing your actual position at an early age. Just because you are tall in middle school does not mean you will be tall in high school or in college. So for you parents who have middle school kids who are 6'2" as an eighth grader, do not, I repeat, do not bring your kid to a high school and allow for the coach to put you down in the paint. That does nothing for him. They are putting him down there because they look at you as being tall and they expect you to get taller. Like I said before, when we talked about the middle school rankings, nobody knows who's going to get tall. It's too early to tell. Just because you're 6'2" in the eighth grade does not mean you are going to be 6'9" or 6'10". That might be all the growing you do. And if you do 4 years as a center at 6'2", and let's say you grow 2 more inches, let's say you get to 6'4" by the time you graduate high school, you can't go and play any level of college basketball at that height being a center. The coach has done you a disservice. And now you are off on your own. Even if you go and put work in your free time to become more of a guard or a wing, that does not mean that coach that you are trying to get to give you a scholarship looks at you that way. You have to have film showing what it is that you're capable of doing, showing that you actually play the position. Not, I got film for 4 years of me playing center, but I promise you I can actually play point guard. Not going to work. No coach is going to stick their neck out for you and risk losing their job, losing their security, and losing what feeds their families, all for the sake of the promise of a 19-year-old, which amounts to nothing. You need to have a coach who brings you in and allows you to play your position early. If your kid isn't at least 6'5", at least 6'5", all of them should be getting put in positions to play point guard. You got an 8th grader, 9th grader. He's 6'3" and under. 6'3" and under. He needs a situation where the coach is going to bring him in and let him play point guard. Because he needs to get used to bringing the ball to the court, initiating offense for himself and for others. Initiating in transition, guarding the point guards, guarding other shooting guards, working out with the intention of being a primary ball handler. If he gets taller, great. But if he doesn't, he's prepared to play college basketball at any level. Because he actually is capable of playing his position. He has real size and real skill for the position that he is expected to play at the higher levels of basketball. If your son coming into high school is 6'5" or 6'6", he needs to be playing the 2 and the 3. 6'7", 6'8", 6'9", 2 and the 3. When you get around 6'8" to 6'9" and above, they can play some power forward. Potentially. But you really want them to still be on the wing, developing guard skills. The way basketball is today, you need to be able to shoot, pass, and dribble. So even if you're 6'9", you still need to be capable of knocking down a wide open shot and guarding multiple positions. Long gone are the days of being a 6'9" center who can only guard 5s and 4s. They're going to put you in the pick and roll and they're going to tear you a new one. You need your kid to be used to doing what the young kids are doing or what the smaller kids are doing. Point guard, shooting guard, small 4. Your kid walks in 6'10". Okay. If they come in as a freshman or a sophomore and they're 6'10", we can start having some different conversations. Maybe they can look at playing some center. Even then, you still want them to be able to catch and shoot and knock down a shot, pick and pop big, slide his feet, grab rebounds, block shots, run hard in transition. Those are the situations that you need to be looking at and paying attention to when you are coming into high school. Now, let's say you're going to a big time high school, a very well-known high school in your area. Coach already has connections. Coach has history of putting guys in college at the highest levels of Division I. That area is known for dominating. Like an example of that would be, let's say, Duncanville High School in Texas, which is where Anthony Black went to school among some other players as well. And I think his younger brother is there now as a top guard. Let's say you go to a school like that. That's a situation that you have to play by ear. You have to play that situation by ear, because if you go to a big time public school where they're getting all the top talent and every year they're putting guys in college, it might be cool for you to go to that school. But if you're not going to get the reps you need in order to put yourself in the best situation, you might need to go to a lesser school. You might need to go to that small little Christian private school where there's only 3 kids in the classroom. Just and so you can be in a situation where you can have the ball in your hands, you can shoot, score, do all things you need to do, and schedule to play some of those big time high schools in your area. An example of that would be Elijah Arenas, Gilbert Arenas' son, who's out there in California at a school we never heard of, Chatsworth, I think. He's not playing with anybody. He's out there putting up 40, and they have to do that in order for him to win. Or he has to do that in order for them to win. His skill set and the things and the mentality he's developing for the last 4 years leads to him being one of the top players in the country, now going over to USC. He'll probably sit out with the meniscus tear. I hope that he gets better. But he's setting himself up beautifully to end up in the NBA. But that's his situation. Everybody has their own situation. Everybody has their own path. Like I said, you got to know what your path is. But that might be an option. You might need to do that. But you also might be in a situation where the coach knows you. You have that relationship already with that coach. And he makes the promise to you. Hey, you'll be fine. Come here. I got you. I'm going to take care of you. Once again, situation you got to play by ear. Because you might go over there, trust what he says, and he makes all the phone calls and gets you that scholarship you want. Get you that opportunity that you want. And you end up riding into the sunset. Beautiful story. Happens all the time. But also what happens all the time are coaches who will say whatever to get you in. Tell you what you need to hear. And now you're in your junior year and you still haven't gotten the ball in your hands. You're in your junior year playing behind other seniors. Some people listening to this might say, well, what's wrong with playing behind the seniors? What's wrong with playing around behind older kids? The top players aren't playing behind older kids. And it's not necessarily because they're better. It's just simply because a conversation has already been had. And that coach can see the big picture and say, yeah, I need to go ahead and do what I need to do for this kid as a freshman because I know what he could potentially become his junior or senior year, which will help me as a coach get to where I want to go. Whether that is a higher level of a high school coach or a college level coach, everybody is playing a political game here. If a coach looks at a player and can see that there's real potential there and he could be a big time player, they will latch on and do whatever is necessary to keep that kid happy. You want to be in a situation where you are that kid. What comes with that, however, is you actually have to be somewhat nice. We're not talking about kids trying to build their own situation and they're not good. We're not talking about Julian Newman situations where we are controlling every single thing, but they are not good on that level at all. So you have to check yourself as a basketball players, and parents have to look at their their kids, and have to be real with themselves, which I know is a hard thing to do because all parents in some way or another are delusional about their kids, and rightfully so. But you got to eventually sit back and make a sobering statement, a sobering hypothesis about who your kid actually is, and go from there. If you put your kid in enough tough situations early on, you'll have a better idea of who they actually are, which is why you need to look into going to some of these middle school combines early. See how they fare. Are they scared of the competition? Are they nervous? Are they apprehensive? Are they getting destroyed? Are they turning into a totally different player? Or are they the exact same? And as a matter of fact, they're actually rising to the competition and destroying it. That's something you as a parent will have to look at and determine for yourself. Everything that I just said for high school is the same way you need to look at AAU. AAU, the teams have already been picked in middle school. When you look at a 17U team, I guarantee you, if you put a microphone to a EYBL team, a Under Armour or Adidas team, and you ask them how long they have been with the program, the 17 and under team, I guarantee you the overwhelming majority of them will tell you they've been around since middle school, or at the very earliest, or at the very latest, 9th grade. Like I said before, these guys are making hypotheses on middle schoolers based on who looks like they're going to get tall, who looks like they might be athletic, who looks like they might be coordinated. They pick 10, 15 kids. Out of all of those kids, about 8 of them are probably still around. What happened to those other 7? Some of them stopped growing. Some of them stopped liking basketball. Some of them just weren't good enough, and they had to go find their own situations. And some of them just simply left because the politics weren't in their favor. They were just as good as another player, but that player got chosen for whatever the reason is. I like you more. Or you might just do this thing I like a little bit better. Or I know your parents. I know your family. I know your mama. Whatever it is. Happens all the time. So now you have these 7 or 8 players that have been in the program. Where are those other 4? Because there's about 12 players on the team. 13 maybe. Those are the kids who pop up out of nowhere. The kid who walks in at 6'11" out of nowhere. Like I said, we don't know who's going to get tall and who isn't. A kid is 5'11" in the 8th grade and then walks in his junior year of high school and is 6'11". They grab those kids quickly. 7-footers sell themselves. But if you're on my team, the coaches will come see you and by default see the rest of my kids as well. So they're going to leave room to grab those kids, and they leave room to grab the one guy who comes up out of nowhere and just starts killing and cooking. The kid nobody expected, who all of a sudden is out here putting up 30 or 25 a night or leading his team to the state championship or whatever it is. They leave room for those kids as well. Maybe one of them. My thing is, a lot of people will hear that and say, I'll be that guy. No, you won't. Stop trying to always be the anomaly and just go with the rule. If you do your work early, you won't have to try to do something incredible on the back end of your basketball career, on the back end of your life. Obedience is better than sacrifice. Obedience is better than sacrifice. These AAU programs are being constructed that way on purpose. The majority of them will be kids who have been around for a long time. There'll be a few of them that come out of nowhere who are just tall, coming from another country or whatever. And there'll be that one kid who nobody ever saw coming. Every team has one. You got to find your situation where the coach is going to let you play your position and put you out there And because you're out there with other talented players on that same level, and you're also playing on the circuit, Adidas, Nike, EYBL, or Nike, Adidas, Nike, and Under Armour, the coaches will be there. The coaches will be there. And you will get the opportunity to showcase what you are capable of doing. And the scholarships will start coming from there. Middle school is where it begins. From there, high school and AAU. High school and AAU. Situations, opportunities, right place, right time. You want to make sure that you are exposing yourself early on in middle school. You want to make sure that you are already used to playing against high level competition, because there will be players out there who will be NBA players one day at these middle school combines. Get used to playing them. It'll help you to not be scared when you finally do go varsity, because your middle school kid will be able to say, well, I already played the number one player in the country and he was 6'11". I'm at this public school or this private school where the tallest kid is 6'5". I'll be okay. I have no fear playing against these 18-year-olds now. Because even though they're older, I've seen guys who will be in the NBA. These guys probably won't even play college basketball after this. Like I said, it does something to the mind. And don't let you go out there and actually start cooking. It does something to the mind. Get your kid used to that early. Do not leave your kid in the driveway putting up shots on their own and thinking that it'll just come to them if it's meant to be. Yes, that is true to an extent. But there's work you have to put in on your side as well. You have to show up. You have to be in those rooms. You have to be at those camps. They're not coming and knocking on your door asking, do you like to come to a camp? They have their own list of players who are coming in every year, dying to be in their showcases. Make yourself available to that. As far as the camps, once you get through that, you got to go over to the high school. Find a good high school. It's not always about being at the biggest name school. It's about being at the best situation for you, which is the same as college, which we'll get to in another episode. And you also want to make sure that you're over on the AAU side. Do not wait until high school to start getting acclimated to these things. And definitely don't think that you're going to start getting acclimated to these things by your junior year of high school, which is what a lot of people start trying to do. I'll start taking it serious and figuring out, do I really want to play college basketball during my junior year? If you haven't heard from any colleges by your junior year, you most likely won't be going to college. For basketball, at least. This is the mindset you need to have. Now, next episode, I'll start getting more into depth about the high school side. I'll start getting more in depth about it and start trying to map out for you where you need to be at certain stages of your career by freshman year, sophomore year, junior year, and your senior year. And then we'll go over to the AAU side, and then we'll start going into showcases and events, and we'll start getting into college and so on and so forth. Hopefully y'all made it to the end of this podcast episode. Hopefully this was good for y'all. If y'all did like it, if you made it to the end, comment and let me know you made it to the end. Let me know what you thought. Give it a thumbs up. Share this to any basketball players that you know who are in high school or who are coming in or who are in middle school getting ready to go into high school. Share this information out there to parents, and so that they can be made available to this information. Man, I've been talking like loud, like I feel so passionate about this. But anyways, make sure y'all do that. All right. Make sure y'all do that. And we'll come out with another episode next week. I appreciate y'all for listening up until this point. We're out of here. All right. Y'all take care. Peace.